Good morning, friends. Welcome to Desi Girl magazine. Uh, Today, as we have Infertility Awareness Week, today we are going to talk about infertility in the women's and men's as well. And we have our guest, Let me try to add her. Hi,
Hey, how are you?
good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
How is everything over there?
Everything is good. Everything is great.
So, do you guys have a warm weather or still cold?
So I'm in Atlanta, so it's nice and warm here.
Oh,
It's a,
nice.
yeah, it's the start of spring and summer, so it's been good. It's like good
Okay.
weather. Yeah. Not too cold, so it's good.
Oh, okay. How was your weekend?
It was good. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the conversation that we're gonna have.
Yeah, so it was Infertility Awareness Week, and I really wanted to bring you in because first of all, you are doctor, so you know the other side of the story, right?
Sure.
And
Yeah,
many, yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's even when you're a doctor and you go through infertility, there still is so much that you need to learn and so much that you forget that even though you have the knowledge base, it's still very difficult, to go.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we're able to have this conversation. It's something that we as Indians don't talk about very often, and so it's important to at least add our voices to this conversation so that our friends who are going through it, our family members who are going through it, don't feel alone.
Yeah, that's totally true because I'm also Indian and I know we don't talk about this topic even in the house with your friends. It's very difficult to understand both side of the story.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Yeah. So let's start with tell something about yourself to our viewers and then we can go further.
Sure, sure. So my name is Preyasi. I'm 36 years old. My husband and I got married about in 2016, and very soon after we tried, wanted to sort of start our family or grow our family, I should say. And so it became pretty quickly apparent that it was not going to be easy for us. So after about 6 to 7 months of really trying, we went and saw a fertility specialist. She had done some, they started off with doing a bunch of blood work and blood tests, ultrasounds, and procedures to sort of figure out what was going on. And they really couldn't actually detect what the reasoning was for our difficulty. And so she offered us a few options. We were able to either go straight into IVF, or we were going to do something called intrauterine insemination, or IUI. Um, and so we decided to try this IUI first, and then sort of our journey began from there. I was only 32 or 33 when we started. I think I was 32 for this. And it was sort of shocking to me that it was so difficult. I have an older sister who was very blessed and was luckily got pregnant pretty easily. And then, so I didn't anticipate any problems. And so the emotional aspect of just sort of even taking their first step to go to the fertility clinic was very difficult and
Mm.
overwhelming. So, um, but I think what we sort of learned is that there are a lot more people that go through this. And so if we talk about it, we won't feel so isolated and so alone.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, so a lot of it, even when talking about it with my parents was difficult. They had they had their own mindset, they had their own thoughts. I think, um, you know, but when we made the decision that we were going to do IVF, we told our families, and especially mine, they were like, why are you rushing into it? Why aren't you taking more time? Why, they had a lot of opinions. And it was the first time where I felt like this was a decision that I had to make on my own because no one else was going through it. And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of us in the community, we rely on our family, rely on our friends, but in particular, we rely on our parents for, advice and for support. And this was the first time where I was really breaking from what they wanted me to do. And it was the same, it was the same thing with my husband. It was the first time that, we'd only been married for less than a year, and we
Mm-hmm.
were this. And so it was the first time that we were going through something as a couple together, but also going through it individually. He had his own issues for feeling about how he felt about it, and I had my own. So it was challenging, but we certainly learned a lot from the experience.
Yeah, that's true. Because like hearing from someone and going through from the actually problem is very different.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah.
We all know about people and we hear about people, but we don't talk it to them about it. You don't talk to them how they were feeling, how they were, how they made the decision. You hear about it, but you don't engage in that conversation. And that's what this week is about, is engaging in that conversation, talking about it, being real
Yeah.
about it. We think that, oh, we're going to grow our family and it's going to be so wonderful and easy, or, oh, we're going to, but it's not. There's a lot of emotions in there, and that definitely can cloud our judgment, fog our judgment. So,
Yeah, that's totally true. Like, uh, I know when I became pregnant, we tried for 6, 7 months. So after 2 months, I took an appointment with a gynecologist, and then I talked with her like we are trying and all this thing, and she said like, it can take up to 1 month to 1 year, so you have to be patient, and you have, because stress plays a bigger role in pregnancy,
well,
so
yeah,
you yeah.
that's certainly. But I think I was 32. I was not the age that they thought that we needed to rush into anything, or go into anything. But I think you know as a woman, you sometimes have intuition, and or is that you just know that I need to seek help, or I need to get my get. I don't think that there's anything wrong with going and finding out what your numbers are, finding out what your fertility health is, even before, like long before even they're thinking about having, just so that you are aware of your own fertility. And so if down the line it takes longer than expected, like it did for you, you have more information.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times, especially in our community, they say wait, relax, relax. And for someone going through trying to get pregnant, that's like the last thing you want to hear, because you are relaxed, or you are trying everything you can do, or it's something that you're asking someone to not look over their shoulder when all they're going to want to do is look over their shoulder. So it's just
Yeah, true.
so that's where this week we talk about how to support our friends that are going through infertility, how to support our friends that are struggling to get pregnant, how to support ourselves if we are the ones going through it.
Yeah, that's true. So like before we try getting pregnant, is there any particular test which we can run through and see how fertility score is or something like that?
Or so I think and this so you go to your OBGYN, and they can do some blood tests. They can check your how many like your ovarian health and your ovarian sort of age. They can do ultrasounds to see how many follicles, eggs you may have. They can check your hormone levels. They can check to make sure that even the basics of, are you having a period in 30 days, or how long in between are you having your periods. So there are certainly a lot of things that you can do to be proactive about learning your fertility health. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, so there's stuff that can be done, before you even are thinking about getting pregnant.
Okay. And how about the like food habits? Because I know when I was trying to get pregnant, I heard from friends and family that being overweight makes it difficult to get pregnant. Is it true or it's a myth?
It certainly is. Yeah, it certainly can be more difficult to get pregnant, but that doesn't mean that you still shouldn't see a doctor. Like, yes, you want to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So eat healthy foods, eat, exercise regularly. But if you are having any difficulties, you should, make all those lifestyle modifications as well. Don't smoke, don't drink excessively, but definitely see a physician.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely healthy food habit will help with overall health and the pregnancy too.
Exactly, just like with everything else.
Okay. And how, I mean, I know because we are working and we are handling family and everything, we are under stress somehow. So
Sure.
so how you would recommend to maintain your stress level and how to like calm down when you feel overstressed?
And that's a really good question. That's just, like everything else in life, and especially when it comes to fertility and just your overall health and mental well-being, you have to figure out what your coping mechanisms are. And I think for me, when we were going through infertility, sort of figuring out how we were gonna what the next steps were going to be, I lost all of the things that I knew were my coping mechanisms. I stopped doing them. I stopped hanging out with friends. I stopped, exercising. I stopped sort of journaling, which was very important for me. And I think you need to know for yourself in life what your de-stressing mechanisms are. And if you're, once you go through something stressful, to make sure you rely on those.
Okay. So, especially when we talk about stress level, do you think family or your partner is playing important role to release your stress, and you can just talk to someone so you feel calm down?
Yeah, I think, this is why this is so important. This conversation is so important because we want to make it easier for people and couples that are going through fertility to talk about it. Absolutely, talking about it with your partner is important. You guys are in this together, it's a team. But let's just say you aren't, you're raising your eggs and you don't have a partner. Talking to your friends is really important. Talking to your family is really important because you don't want to carry that burden by yourself. And truthfully, with this community, the fertility sisterhood is so strong that there are people waiting and willing and wanting to help you if you're going through this. So absolutely, talking to your partner is very important because you both need to decompress and de-stress.
Yeah, that's true. So while you are going through the infertility process, right? Like IVF or something.
Hmm.
So how you want to describe what kind of day you should be and how stressful it is when you go through the process?
So when you go through IVF, it's very time consuming, which is, it requires a lot of appointments, doctor's visits, blood draws, ultrasounds. I mean, not only uh, is the thought of getting pregnant all consuming, unfortunately, it also becomes the doctor's important appointments become all consuming. So, for example, a day in the life of a woman going through egg freezing or egg retrieval or going through fertility, you are going in for ultrasounds at the start of your cycle to look at to just get your overall health. You get blood draws, and then once you start taking the medications, which are oftentimes injectable, you're going to be going in almost every day for them to be doing ultrasounds and making sure progressing as you should be. So you have the appointments take about an hour, usually about an hour. You are going almost every day. That
Wow.
black lasts for about, I would say, days,
Oh,
and then
okay.
your egg retrieval.
So during the treatment, do they recommend you to follow a particular diet or something, or you should avoid some food or something like that?
No, and it's still a healthy diet, healthy diet with moderation in your carbs, watching your sugar, your sugar. Of course, if you have a certain underlying like hypothyroidism or you have PCOS, and they may tell you to follow a certain diet, but for the most part, follow a clean and healthy diet.
Okay. So, if you see I know IVF is one of the option, but is there are any other option for the treatments?
Yeah, so you can certainly do something called you can try timed intercourse when you're monitoring your ovulation. You take ovulation tests, and then when you're ovulating, you do timed intercourse. That's one way. You can take oral medication, something called letrozole or Clomid, which help increase, make sure you're actually ovulating that month. And then you can try taking injectable medication. The next step would be, these are all medications and all with timed intercourse. The next step would be to do something called intrauterine insemination, or IUI, which is when you are taking either Clomid or letrozole, which helps get follicles, and then instead of doing timed intercourse, they actually take your partner's sperm and put it in the cavity. So that's another way to do it. And then the final step would be
Okay. And like being a South Asian, I know mostly family and friends blame that infertility is in the woman. But is it true? Because I know it's not just the woman's egg, right?
Oh, it's not. It's male factor infertility is common. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it's not. It's certainly not all from all the woman's fault, like they hear about. No, absolutely not. There is male factor infertility. Does take a percentage of that for sure.
Yeah. So is there any other test which can run through the men's fertility?
Absolutely, they can do semen or sperm analysis. So they look to see how much sperm you have, how good is the sperm, how fast is it moving. That's usually at the startup of any fertility workup. They look at the woman, but they also look at the man at the same time. Conjunction. It's not one or the other, one first, then the other at the same time. So they're both partners are equally important and equally involved in this.
Okay. And so this is like very basic South Asian culture. Once you get married, they want to have kids within like their family, not couples, but their family want them to have kids within like, 2 years or 1 year of marriage. What is your thought about that?
I mean, I don't. I think couple when they want to have a child, right? It's up to. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's really up to the couple if they want to have a child. It's hard with being Indian and having that Indian pressure, the societal pressure, but we have to get rid. We have to, as this generation has to we have to fight that because we don't want our kids to feel that pressure.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a woman can get pregnant when she's 25 and 30 if she's ready, or 20 and 25 when she's ready, or she can get pregnant at at 40, 42 if that's what she wants to. There is no reason why anyone would feel pressure. There's you just have to, if you are going to delay it, you just have to consider your fertility and your fertile health. That was what would be my main takeaway.
Okay. We have a question from viewer. Did you ever find yourself comparing yourself to others when you saw pregnancy announcement? How did you cope up with that?
Pregnancy announcements were so difficult. The year that we got, the year that we went through IVF, I think we had like 5 or 6 friends who got pregnant. The way I coped with it was, so first of all, give yourself grace. If you are feeling sad and upset, it doesn't mean that you're not happy for your friend. It means that you're just sad for yourself, and that's totally acceptable, normal, and give yourself grace to feel that way. The way I cope with getting those was by just remembering that we don't know how we may think that they went through it. It was so easy peasy, but you don't know how long they've been trying. You don't know what route they took. We don't know. So that was another way that I always reminded myself that I may think it looks so easy for some others, but it might not be. And then finally, I mean, I avoided it for when it was really hard for me to see the pregnancy announcements. I didn't go on social media. I didn't go to any baby showers. I mean, I honored what my body, my mind, and my soul needed. And so, but I think, probably about 6 months into it, we avoided baby showers. I was just tired of not being myself. And I didn't feel like avoiding baby showers, avoiding friends who I was or who I wanted to be. And so my coping was just to remember that we don't know everyone's story. And so we may think it might be easy, but it might not have been.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, do you think like social media has pros and cons, but do you think social media play a factor during this infertility when you're going through?
I think it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, we have this platform, right, where we can talk about it and we can raise awareness and we can say you're totally normal for feeling sad. It's not a you thing, it's just you're sad. And that doesn't mean that you're not happy for your friends, it just means that you're sad. And that's we talk about it. This is what social media is really good about. What it can be hard is just that you're mindlessly scrolling and then all of a sudden you see the announcement or you see a celebrity that's pregnant, which was my breaking point. And then you're just like, what the like I
Yeah,
I think you just have to be mindful of what your consumer, like what you as a consumer need from social media.
yeah, that's true.
Um,
Yeah. So,
both, but
mhm. So I know normally, like in South Asian culture, we don't talk about pregnancy until you get pregnant, and but still people keep asking you like, "Are you planning for a baby? Are you planning for a baby?" So how you would respond them?
that's so I mean, you could just be like, we're trying. My response to aunties would always be like, when it's up to when Bhagwan or God want me to have a baby, right? Like that'll be fine because we're not. It's not a me thing. I'm waiting for someone else, or So
Yeah,
there's so many ways to go about it. You have to figure out which one is the best. I mean, at some point you just have to their aunties, uncles are always gonna say something. When are you gonna get married? When are you gonna have kids? When are you when are like why are you dating someone or why are you dating someone? So in IVF and infertility taught me that I was responsible for setting my boundaries.
hmm,
And and I didn't care if my responses made them feel uncomfortable. I don't care. Like it was about me and saying like I'm trying or we're trying or not up to me, or you can even say we're trying, not that easy. Like you can be as honest or want to be.
okay. Yeah, because like I know we planned baby after like we decided till 2 years we don't want a baby, and then we will think where in life we are, and then we can think about it. And like after 6 months of our marriage, like people asking like, "Are you planning a baby?" And I was like, "We just got married and we are trying to know each other." So things are really different when it's
Yeah,
in actual life.
yeah, that's a good answer. I mean, that's true. That's honest, right? That's a good answer. I mean, I think we just have to be. We as a culture have to stop asking people, right? Like we don't know. But that was a great answer. We're trying. We're learning ourselves first, and then we'll bring a new person into like a new baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is anything else you want those women to know who are going through infertility or who are going through those treatments to how to stay strong and control their emotions?
I would tell them to first and foremost give themselves, their body grace, be kind to themselves. The hardest part about going through infertility is the self-loathing or the self-deprecation that we put onto ourselves. We shame ourselves so much when we hear, at least I did when I was going through fertility. I thought it was my fault, but you need just give yourself grace, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, cry when you need to cry, but don't forget that there is a community out here that is willing and that wants to support you and talk to you. I mean, people can DM me anytime and I will respond to their questions because it's something that I wish that I had had the first time around. I went through it again this past year. I felt lucky that I had people checking in on me and asking me, "Oh, how are you doing?" So don't forget that there is a community out here. It's not that common for Indian women. It's for women in the United States. It's 1 in 8 couples go through infertility. For women in India, it's 1 in 6. And for women in medicine, for physicians, it's 1 in 4 go through some sort of infertility. So you're not alone. It's a lot more common than you think it is, and it's not your fault. So, reach out, stay strong, find your, figure out what it is that you need to do for your own way to de-stress, and then to find yourself back to the person that you are and want to be. But
Mhm.
give of utmost importance is to give yourself grace.
That's really good advice.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know, like, there are a lot of women who are not able to talk about it, but I'm sure if they listen this, they will feel strong.
That's all I want, is for one person to feel like they have this courage and the strength to do it. You can get through it. You know, the pathway to motherhood is not linear. It's not the same for everyone. It's not one size fits all. It is different for every single person. But you know, so don't, just remember you can overcome it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You have a great day. Okay.
You too. Take
Okay.
care.
Care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.